Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. Members may wonder why someone from the North East of Scotland is participating in this debate. I did note that in the motion it says a real choice for viewers across the south of Scotland, and I thought it might be useful to just talk about what happens elsewhere in Scotland and how that might be relevant to this debate, and to talk more generally about the whole value of television as part of communities engaging with themselves and talking to each other. In the North East of Scotland, we talk about having a news. What that means is going and calling on a neighbour, having a discussion, talking about things in general. And good local media supports and sustains exactly that. Good communication and information flow also supports economic and political success. 2,000 years ago, it used to take the Greeks 30 days to send a message out to one of their outposts and another 30 to get a message back. An incredibly long period of time. You'd forgotten what the question was when you got the answer. The Romans improved that dramatically. They could send a message from Londinium to Roma and get a reply back the same day by a system of hilltop signalling. Didn't work at night or if there was fog, but it was a huge, huge improvement. Moving rapidly forward in 1876, when Alexander Graham Bell demonstrated the telephone, a huge step forward. And by 1881, only 5 years later, Edinburgh had 300 telephone subscribers. So people want good quality communications relevant to them. I happen to have done family tree research for many years, and I have a letter to my great-great-grandfather, which is dated 1870. And it was written over a period of months to tell him that one of his sons, still living in Scotland, had died, because my great-great-grandfather was in Canada. This was such a precious communication, he waited until the outcome of an illness before sending it. And I think it shows that familial conversation as well as community conversation is important. I remember my father's first telephone call to the United States, 1958, had to be booked a day in advance, and it cost half the average working man's weekly wage. But today, we've got a television pattern that was established when ITV started in about 1955, and it's going to change, and it is changing. And we've already seen in STV, it isn't a monolithic news service. There are 4 separate bulletins across Scotland. But more fundamentally, as a commercial imperative, they are now reaching down into their communities and have local reporters with local websites, local TV inserts on there, which are often picked up and used. In my constituency alone, I have 2 separate STV websites in Buckie and in Peterhead. And I think that is going to turn out to be a key part of sustaining companies that were born in the mid-50s into the next 30 or 40 years, because the future will not be like the past. We see journalists from television companies, Colin White at BBC Aberdeen, goes out with a camera on his own. He writes for the web, he does for radio, he does for TV. That's going to be the pattern, getting to the root of what's going on. And I think this letter that I got from my relatives in Canada, 360 milliseconds it took, not the 360 minutes it took the Romans to talk to London. In future, it's going to be so instantaneous, it's not true. We've got to find ways of delivering for the borders. Perhaps they can show the rest of us how to do it, because their need is greatest.